Brought to you by the Grand Theater. This month, see country star Michelle Wright and Blood, Sweat, and Tears frontman David Clayton Thomas. Visit kingsandgrand.ca for more details.
January 30th, 1933 to May 8th, 1945. These dates mark the beginning and the end of the Holocaust, the mass murder of over 6 million Jews during the Second World War. This week is Holocaust Education Week at Queen's, and Queen's TV News investigates the importance of learning and remembering. We sat down with some of the executive members of Queen's Hillel, the Jewish cultural club that organized Holocaust Education Week.
Both of my paternal grandparents are in fact Holocaust survivors. My grandfather, who passed away a few years ago, he survived the war working as an underling in the Russian army. He was from a town on the Polish-Ukrainian border, and he escaped there. And my grandmother was from Poland, and she survived hiding in the forest and going through a series of concentration camps.
I think what's important, these are personal stories that are related to people's friends, family, cousins, uncles, aunts, whatever the case might be, but these are stories that still live with us.
How do you see the future of Holocaust education as the survivors leave us and time goes on?
It's so important now to be preserving their stories and exposing the greater population to their stories, because they're not going to be around much longer. Talking to Holocaust survivors, reading their memoirs, it's never been more crucial to be learning their stories.
What distinguishes this year's Holocaust Education Week from previous years?
This year we're really attempting to take Holocaust Education Week beyond just the Jewish community at Queen's and really reaching out to the entire community at large. So there's a few ways we've done this. We've created a theme for the first time for our week, and our theme, as you can see, is Mosaic of Victims, really trying to highlight not just the Jewish group of victims, but all the other groups as well.
Here we are at the entrance of the Holocaust Education Week exhibit with Naomi, who's going to show us around a little bit.
All right, so right at the entrance here, you can see there's a place to take ID cards. These were from the Washington Holocaust Museum, and basically what they are is Jewish and non-Jewish victims. It's their story that you can read, their personal account, as you go through a more generalized version of the history throughout the exhibit.
Okay, let's take one of these and go.
Right, it's a chronological account of the war. We try not just focus on the traumatic events, but we have life before the war, the rise of the Nazi regime, all the way through. And you see that we go through the different stages of the war. So we have life in the ghetto, the camps.
Here's an example of an ID found at the Holocaust Education Week exhibit. This particular ID belongs to Maria Nemeth, who at age 13 was machine gunned to death at a concentration camp, along with the rest of her family. After a walk through the exhibit, we spoke to Professor Jordyn, who teaches a history course on the Holocaust at Queen's.
It's trying to teach them a historical method. How do we know what we know? And it's important, this kind of training in how a fact comes to be made. And that way they can argue against Holocaust deniers.
Historical inquiries are all about analyses, taking a side, arguing a stance. How is that possible when you're talking about the Holocaust?
So there are all kinds of arguments, but they're never about what, at least at the scholarly level. They're always about how and why. And when you ask why, that leads to other questions. If you say it happened because of anti-Semitism, well then you say, well, is the Holocaust unique and therefore you can't compare it to other genocides?
What do you believe is the biggest misconception about the Holocaust?
That we've always known about the Holocaust, or that people always wanted to talk about the Holocaust, that there's always been movies about the Holocaust, that there have always been courses about the Holocaust. But in fact, people didn't want to talk about the Holocaust until the 1960s. There was Holocaust amnesia for many years.
Do you think that Holocaust education has the power to defeat modern-day anti-Semitism?
That's a good question, and I don't think so, no. I don't think education alone can do this. Because anti-Semitism is not based on evidence. It's based on belief, and belief is unshakable.
Holocaust Education Week provides us with an opportunity to learn about the personal stories, lived experiences, miracles, and atrocities that took place 67 years ago. To learn more, visit the Mosaic of Victims exhibit at the JDUC and launch your Holocaust education today. This has been Jordyn Benattar, reporting for Queen's TV News.
Brought to you by the Grand Theater. This month, see country star Michelle Wright and Blood, Sweat, and Tears frontman David Clayton Thomas. Visit kingsandgrand.ca for more details.